How is everybody doing today?
Good.
I appreciate you guys coming to the class. So today, we'll put up our old pictures. We always talk about getting the pictures changed, and we don't do it ourselves. So good morning again. Today, probably one of the most important things that we can talk about today, and I see it all the time, and it's been this way forever with buyer's agents. Not knowing what, when, how, say, and show value. It's more important today than it has ever been. That you better show value if you expect your client to give you 1%, 2%, 5%, 3%, whatever that number is. And that's why this is so important. By the way, and this is what we've always done in real estate, I stole this from somebody else. Okay, I took a class and it was an amazing class and I was blown away.
Someone was kind enough to share.
Yeah, she shared my thing and I stole it and just.
Hey, I did
All
not
girls.
make it from a template either. so
Yeah,
I
these girls,
appreciate it.
Katie and Mackenzie did an amazing job transferring everything. By the way, you guys just give a big hand for Heidi Miller. So, just so everybody kind of knows why Heidi's up here. First off, I think she's probably one of her and Gina, Gina's here yet. She's probably one of the best buyer's agents I've ever seen. Their paperwork diligence is unbelievable. They get everything signed. I mean, they have stuff signed that doesn't even have a place to sign on. Here, sign these comps. You know, they do stuff like that that I think is above and beyond. So, the most important thing today, guys, this is yours. Your copy of it, you can change it however you want. But I think when you're sitting down with a buyer and you review this back with them, they're going to see your value. And that's why I think it's so important. So, Heidi, anything you want to say? No.
Other than we can just get right into it, I like what you said, that if you know, like when we get a client that's a buyer, the first thing we do, I like to do in my business practices, do a buyer consultation. In a perfect world, can't always do that, but if you can, you're gonna talk to them, you're gonna bring this, like Jeff said, show your value, and then you're gonna ease into the BBRA.
I think it's mandatory, you guys, that you have a consultation. I think,
But you have to get the.
you gotta do this. This is just one piece of your buyer's package, by the way, you guys. This isn't everything. This is just gonna help you show your value before you ask them to sign the BBRA. All right, let's jump right into this. So the first page, our dream team will lead you to your dream home. If you don't have a team, you can say, I'll lead you to your home. You know, whatever you want to do it. And that's why I want to say this. You could say, we'll get you to your dream home. Because when you open up the first page, and it shows here, it shows my information. I've got Heidi's, I've got the girls', and I've got John and Heather. These guys are part of your team, you guys. If you're an individualization, which is fine, make sure you're putting the girls down. Make sure you're putting your title company that you use a lot, or your lender that you use a lot. Get their information, right? Because a lot of times you're going to recommend somebody and say, hey, I want you to use this person. You come in and here they are, right? So whoever it is you guys use, make sure you're just doing it. That's why we did it. So I like this first part of the introduction. And now, guys, I really think that you should try to review almost every line of this when you're talking to your client, right? It's going to be a leave behind. They're going to get it. I think you should really review over that. So, Realty One Group has been in the real estate business for 20 years. And because of our hard work ethics and determination, we've been a part of the highest producing brokerage year after year. Our brokers has an epic lending partner and a title partner who rocks. I love that. It allows us to attend to your clients while negotiating the best possible deal for you and your realtor. Our job as your real estate brokerage is to educate you on the current future market so you can make the best decision for you and your clients. Our team focuses on customer experience, commitment to ourselves, to negotiating and competing the most effective transaction for you. We believe communication is key to success, and that's why it is our main priority for you to always know what's happening now or whatever comes next. Thank you, Realty One. Now, you guys, teams, there are teams in here. Put that up on your team. But everybody should have some type of model or something like that. That's just a great opening line, and I think you should certainly read that to them so they can see it. Okay?
This was done in Canva, by the way, so if you have a Canva account, you can send a link to them, right?
You can. The girls, Katie and Mackenzie, I just talked to Gary about this. They would update this with your information if you guys want to. They'd probably charge like $75 to do it. But you send them the bio, you send them your information, and they can go in there and fix it all. If that's something you guys want yourself, you can absolutely do it yourself.
Or you can just do something else, yes?
Who could do this for us?
Katie McKenzie.
The girls,
Oh.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's what I would do. I mean, guys, we spend too much time, in my opinion,
Yeah.
diddling over stuff that we shouldn't be doing. But here's our deal. If I diddle and screw around with this stuff, guess what? I don't have to prospect. Because I'm doing busy work.
If you're doing your own transaction.
Yeah, and then when you say, did I make any money today? Well, no, but look, I did busy work. On the corner of each deal, I put a smiley face. See how cute that is? That's what real estate agents do. Because I don't want to prospect.
But the point is you can change, you know,
Yes.
change whatever you want, however you want to say it. And then like Jeff said, you can add, if you're on a team, add your team members. If not, just, you know, Jeff's our team, the girls are our team,
Yeah.
the lender.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. You can put myself and Kinsey on there, and Katie and Kinsey as well. We're all part of your team. So if you don't have somebody, you use mine. It doesn't bother me. Just don't put any disparaging marks in there, no cussing words. I cuss in person. I cuss in person, not on an email. I was just gonna read my bio real quick. Jeff is the managing broker of North Group Northwest, bringing leadership, industry expertise, and passion for agent success to the forefront. With years of experience in real estate and commitment to the growth, he supports agents through mentorship, training, and hands-on guidance. Jeff also fosters a collaboration culture where professionalism and innovation thrive. That's ChatGPT, I think. I believe it. I know this guy. He's actually a really good guy, so I believe it. I believe him. I think he's right. All right, Heidi. Please read your bio.
Okay, so
Yes.
who's a mentor? Heidi Miller is a dedicated, I can't really read this, I didn't bring those glasses.
Here you go, on these.
No. He's a dedicated mentor at Realty One Group Northwest, committed to guiding new and seasoned agents towards success. With a wealth of real estate knowledge and a supportive approach, she helps agents build confidence and sharpen their skills. Heidi's passion for teaching and her
Approachable style.
Oh, I got one.
That's definitely.
Style. She
Yeah,
makes her
approachable.
approachable style make her a trusted resource and inspiring leader in the office. Oh my God, that's also in white.
Yeah, see? Oh, yeah, there you go. So you put it in black and
All right,
white.
also check.
All right, so the next page, you guys.
You can
So the next page, you guys, make sure you're sitting with your buyers, you go over the process. A lot of the new buyers don't have no idea what the process is.
Right.
Right, so it's important that you review this with them.
This I really like, this
Yeah.
and this.
And I will tell you this, you guys, Heidi is very, precise, she was what the secretary said, and so she's changing stuff. I'm like, that looks good to me, let's go. And she's like, yeah, I want to change that, I need that, this, and need to move that out. Okay, do whatever you want. Because that's the way I am, I'm just, let's just get it done. So, I like this, again, first one, choose a realtor and a buyer consultation. So make sure you sit down with them, make sure you know what they're talking about. Second, good loan approval. Make sure they're working with your lender. Have they reached out to a lender? Do they know a lender, right? You should try to recommend a couple lenders if you want. If you want to put two on the other side of the page, put two, right? You should always try to write and recommend at least a couple of each, a lender, inspector, that kind of stuff. Try not to ever just give one and say, hey, here, use this guy only, right? Because that's, you could also have an issue with that. Go ahead.
Okay, find a property to buy, of course.
Yep.
And then write offer to purchase, present offer, and seller's response. So in detail on the next page, we'll go.
Has anybody presented an offer to a seller?
I used to.
You did, okay. I never have. Yeah, I never have. And I know that Lee Barrett talks about it all the time, you know, they want to present an offer.
I think you could, not demand, but say, hey, I really want to present it to your seller, but oftentimes I think there's a form or they have something typed up saying, oh, my seller doesn't want that. And if they show that to you, you can't really do it.
Right.
It
I
says
know, that's right.
we don't want to have, we just want our agent to present it.
I think it's a good idea, because I think you could probably do a better job than all the listing agents, honestly, Gary.
Remember, we used to go in there, you sit in the house and you had to go outside, let them talk about it.
Right,
I mean, now you don't even really meet the other realtor at all.
right. Well,
There you have to meet them.
Then they want to talk to you, they just want to text you.
right. If you watch LA listing, you know, they're sitting at a bar stool and one goes to that in the bar, and isn't that what real estate is? Isn't that what we do all day? Sit on champagne coolies and negotiate $1 million deals?
Right. Would
Okay.
anybody want to present it to the seller? Is anybody comfortable with that? To be honest, because it is a little,
I've done it like for years.
yeah,
Kind of like, remember the old, well, the love letters. Anybody done love letters? We used to do love letters all the time. And so I guess we talked about it, I think they came out and said you can't do it. It's
Well, the division,
division or somebody said that.
I think it's a great.
Yeah, right.
Is
It's-
that why that's
Used to
stopped?
be-
What, Gary?
Is that why that's stopped? The division stopped?
Yeah, probably, yeah, I think probably the division said something about it.
Yeah, it was a division. They said
Yeah.
something about
Good morning.
being unfair, I don't know.
Yeah.
How's
I don't
that?
think it's
No,
fair.
it used to be when they have multiple offers and you have like cards in front of the house, they're all presenting one at a time.
I guess I can see
Which
that,
is
yeah.
crazy, you know.
Yes, that was a thing once upon a
I
time.
remember back in the day when I was doing short sales, at one house, I think I had 22 offers
Oh, yeah.
on one house.
I had one time I had to go to.
Wow, so it's there, so,
I think back in the day, yeah, just like you had, was really a buyer market, yeah, there's no market. And it was so hot, it was so, you couldn't find the houses, you wanted to get in there and present yours to the seller.
right.
I mean, that was,
A great
it was
decision.
different, yeah, you didn't do that, you didn't get it.
I don't think it's a bad idea, honestly, guys, but I don't know that any will let you.
It's the listing agents that stand in the way, man. That's just like the trend changed that way, and here we are.
Well, I will tell you this, for me, as scary as the last two buyers that I dealt with, agents, I would not want them presenting nothing to
Yeah, so
myself.
there's that.
That's me, so, that was me.
Well,
And that's why I think this is important, yeah. All right, right offer to purchase, present offer, and seller's response, make sure they understand, quickly, guys, when you're going over this is just something to get you started in the conversation. Talk to them a little bit about presented offer. It goes into more detail on the other side of it. Open escrow deposit earnest money, make sure they understand that there are people that write checks today still, and if they're gonna write a check, it's gonna get cashed, and it could take 8-10 days before it actually gets cashed and clear. So try to stay away from that kind of stuff. I mean, it doesn't really, it's funny to say open escrow within 1 business day and deposit EMD. Well, if you wrote a check, is that still considered, didn't cash for
I
10
mean,
days?
that's how it used to be done all the time.
Yeah, back in the day. I think wiring is a little bit safer myself personally.
Well, yes, yeah.
Open escrow deposit of money, due diligence, manage contingencies at critical dates and milestones. And you guys, I gave you guys this other packet right here as well. This has some more information in as well as the timeline. And if you see on the last page, the timeline is on there, guys, and there's a reason for it right here. You need to make sure you fill 2 of these out. One for yourself and one for your buyer. Have your buyer sign your copy and make sure they understand. These timeframes are for them. Their money's at jeopardy, not yours. They need to make sure they understand that part, okay?
Or you can, what I do is I send it to them at the beginning of the escrow, because this is what you're gonna use when you first go into escrow.
Right.
And as these dates get completed, I email to them the updated version, and I ask them to respond, acknowledging receipt. And we'll look over them having them physically sign it. Or I could upload it in DocuSign or send to sign or whatever.
I want them to have a copy of it, guys, because they have to know.
Yeah.
This is their timeline and their money's at jeopardy, not mine. Right? I mean, that's something they have to really understand. And I used to tell them, remember something, my name's not on the contract, your name is on it. I don't even sign it. You sign it. These timeframes are for you. And then, I wish it went this quick, by the way, I like that. Sign loan docs, utilities, and walk through, and then close escrow and get your keys.
So this is just like bullet points. Oh,
This page right here, to me, seems like too much to send to my buyer.
Say that again?
This page seems like too much information to send to my buyer. So I've been doing an email with their bullet points of their timelines.
Do it however you want.
you can do that as well. Whatever your business
I'm
practice.
afraid it'll confuse them.
That's fine.
Yeah, there's a lot of information, but there's a lot of information you need to understand. Listen, if you want a bullet pointed email, that's fine too. They just need to know that these are their timeframes. Because when a buyer goes MIA on you, well, I got a great question. Due diligence ends tomorrow, I haven't been able to speak to my buyer in 2 days, he won't call me back, what do I do? Due diligence expire tomorrow, what do? I can't get a hold of my buyer. What do? I go home, I'm sitting in front of the division. Okay, Jeff, what happened when your buyer wasn't around and the due diligence expired? What'd you do? Well, nothing, I waited for him. That's not the answer they're looking for. What I did is I drafted an addendum that said cancel escrow within our due diligence. I sent it to the buyer, and he chose not to sign it or open it. That's his fault. Now, when I'm sitting in front of the division, what'd you do? Well, the day before I sent him an addendum that said cancel escrow within our time frame. He did nothing. They're going to say, Jeff, thank you, great job, you can leave now. You guys, the time frames don't stop. Whether we do something, whether they're doing something or nobody's doing anything, they don't stop. And you better make sure you understand that. We have had more issues with that when the agent said, well, I can't get a hold of them, so I didn't do anything. You keep the movement going. Now you're doing your part as an agent, okay? So make sure you're doing that.
They don't have to use this, as long as you're
Yes.
informing your
No, you don't have
buyer
to.
of something. And, letting them know what's going on, but he makes a good point,
I've seen a simpler one, by the way. I don't know where I've seen it. I've seen a simpler one.
I like that one.
I think it depends on your buyer.
Yeah.
We're probably using what we
True.
think we would be comfortable with,
Right.
but some buyers want all the data.
Right.
Use that form.
If you know the
Some
personality
buyers
styles.
don't want to get overwhelmed.
That's exactly right. Know your audience.
Yes.
Know their personality style. We talked about that in depth last week. Know who you're talking to. But you guys, I'm telling you, you better make sure they understand the timelines because they're the ones whose money's at jeopardy, not mine.
Well, and we're here to manage their expectations and give them that information. We're here to push it along and say, hey, it's time for this, or this is about to expire. Have you checked in with the lender? Or well, you should be doing the same.
Right.
But,
All right.
It's just to manage.
Let's get to the next page.
Yes. So.
The home buying process. I would try to read within reason pretty much every line on here so they really get an in-depth of guys. Because remember, we're showing our value why I want you to pay me 1%. If the seller only pays me 2%, I want the 1%. Right? This is why this is where you're showing your value, guys. Number 1, I'm a full-time professional realtor with extensive market knowledge. We will work closely to find your needs, and our team will work together to find you the right home. If you're not a full-time agent, you're only doing part-time. Don't put full-time. Right? Leave that line out. Make it, customize it to what you guys want to do and how you do it. We just given you some examples of what it looks like, right? You can put anything you want in there.
Okay, number 2, loan pre-approval. Once we establish your needs, we can guide you to financial institutions where you can obtain information to get the best financing available. We will start the mortgage pre-approval process to turn you into the equivalent of a cash buyer, so you have the most leverage possible in the buying process. Meaning, at the end of the day, it's all cash, whether they get a loan or they're paying cash. Keep in mind that special financing options are available for veterans and first-time homeowners. Maintain your credit score by ensuring no new credit accounts are opened and avoid large credit purchases. Don't go buy a car. Don't go buy new furniture.
Yeah. My son-in-law's dad is buying a house in Arizona. He hasn't quite qualified for it yet, and he went out and bought a bunch of furniture to put in the new house. And he's a flipping agent for 25 years. Reply as you're knocking on his head, are you serious? Guys, I'm telling you, everybody in this room that's ever worked with a buyer knows that shit happens all the time. They go out and buy a car, they buy furniture, and I tell them, and I used to have I know what I did Gonzales at one point, and it was kind of a deal. What not to do when you're in a deal. And it says pretty much, don't buy a freaking stick of gum. Okay, don't do anything. Don't do nothing to screw your credit up. Pay your bills.
Well, that would be good to add to your buyer package too. I'm sure your lenders have that. They probably.
We had one off, you can see, I didn't figure out about that until just now, but I used to have one. I gave it to Dave Gonzales. I wonder if he has one still. Find a property to buy. We will meet to discuss your wants and needs in a home. We will show you houses based upon the criteria that we established. The more precise and direct you are with me, the more successful your search will be. Dig into their lifestyle. Find out, are they religious? Do they want Zen? Do they want, there are people who don't want certain address numbers on the house, right? Find out what they're doing with it. Right? Find out if they're multi-generational, right? Which is the craziest thing I've ever heard of. There's no way in hell I want that. I didn't like it when I was raised growing up with them. I don't want them to freaking do it with me. So, that's crazy. Okay?
Right off the seller's response with you. My negotiating skills and knowledge will benefit you in reaching a final agreement. So while we're reading this all to you, like you said, sometimes I'm sitting with people and I'm going over page work and they're just like, is she done yet? Is she done? And you gotta kind of pick up on those signals. And I actually say to them, do you want me to go over all this with you? And sometimes they're like, just show me where to sign.
Right.
Great.
But see now, I still think, even if they say that, I would still touch on every page. Because you guys, remember, we're trying to show them the value.
I'm not saying don't go through it, I'm just saying don't read every word.
I mean, when I did that listing, I told you about the house, it's actually gonna close today, in Providence. And I was doing a listing presentation, I usually go over the listing presentation almost, pretty much every line almost. And this guy's kids were crawling all over him underneath the deal, throwing fruit on the ground. So I went, that sign here, this one there, sign here. All right, I'm out, put the lockbox on the door. I was done in 20 minutes, which normally take me a little longer than I want to go over. But that was, just like you said, you gotta read the room.
Right.
And I wasn't about to keep going over when he couldn't pay attention because the kid's pulling his ears, one's putting a fruit in his face, the other one, he's sitting in his lap trying to do this. I'm like, I mean, this is important. And that's why he ever said something to me, I was gonna say, I tried to explain it to you, but you let your kids run all over Hill and Dell, and so I couldn't. That's exactly what I would say to him. I mean, we gotta make sure read the room, but I still think you should touch on it. Open escrow deposit or money when the purchase agreement is accepted and signed by all parties. The one thing I did like here is the seller, just to change, the seller has 3 options. They can accept, counter, or reject your offer. Make sure they understand that we can do that.
Did I skip that?
Pardon? Yeah, you can do that.
I'm sorry.
It's all right. I will open escrow for you. That's what buyers do. At the time, your earnest money will be deposited. Escrow or title company will receive, hold, and distribute all funds associated with your transaction. The escrow period is the time allowed per your purchase agreement to obtain financing, perform inspections, and satisfy any other contingencies in which your purchase is subject to. Typical contingencies: home inspector, seller, real property SRPD, approval of preliminary title report, appraisal of property, full loan approval, HOA resale package if applicable. We have timelines in there, guys. And Diane, that's why the timelines are very important. You make sure you put them all in. If you don't want to use it, that's cool, guys. I don't care. Use whatever you want. But because we don't put enough pressure on the buyers to say, this is your deal, not mine. You need to pay attention to this, right? So you're not the only one in the game.
Communicating with them and everybody's on the same page.
Yeah, you got to make sure, because I don't think we spend enough time making sure they understand this is their deal. I'm here to help facilitate it. It's your deal. Get it done. Pay attention. Go ahead.
Due diligence, manage critical dates and milestones. During the escrow process, there are activities you will be responsible for scheduling and completing. These include a home inspection. Schedule a professional home inspector to perform a physical inspection of the property. Once it's received, I will review it with you in detail. This is a good opportunity right here to kind of counsel your buyers to say, we're not asking for every stupid thing on the home inspection.
Yes.
So my business practice is to I counsel my buyers and say, look, let's concentrate on the major appliances, health and safety issues. Don't worry about the $10, $20, $40, $50 items from Home Depot. Now, is everybody gonna agree with that? Maybe not, but ultimately you gotta, write up the request for repairs the way they want it. But if you tell them this up front, when they get that home inspection report, they're gonna be like, oh my God, we don't know, home inspectors, I'm gonna in here. They'll find something. They will find
That's
something.
their job.
Right, so, but you gotta keep it reasonable and in check.
Yeah, guys, and that, we talked about this last month, about the deal I was doing with all the stupid 21 items on a 12 or 15-year-old house. Let's keep it to the point. And I told you about the garage door, well, bottom of the garage door is big, and the girl wants the seller, to replace the garage door. I said, does the garage door go up and down? Yeah, okay, it's fixed, thank you. That's all we need. You're not buying a new house. If you want to buy a new house,
What are you doing here?
cancel this deal and move on, right? We have to understand, you guys, and you have to make sure they understand. If they're buying a resale, there are going to be issues with it, right? If they didn't fix the cracked tile in the entryway since '71, the odds are they're not going to tear it out and fix it for your buyer. So make sure we're getting to the important things: air conditioning, plumbing, water, HVAC, hot water heater, sewer line, right? I think another good one is one that's not mentioned in it. I think everybody should take a note down about this. If you are selling a house that's from the 70s or the 80s, you might want to have the sewer line inspected, right? Especially if it's an older couple the old couple and it's a probate and the house never got used and they're going to move a family of 6 in there and start using washing machine and dryer and all the stuff, showers, and the sewer line's clogged from tree roots. That's a $5,000-$10,000 expense. So I think if the house is old enough, 20 years, 25, I think it'd be well worth it to have the state put down the drain line, the sewer line to see if it's okay.
Would that be a plumber?
Absolutely. Yep. I mean, guys, listen, would I rather have the sewer line checked or a cracked tile fixed?
Yes, sir.
Exactly. Well, there is a crack and the screen in the back is cut. Can we have a new one put in? No.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Okay,
All
please.
right.
And that's a special inspection, that's not.
Absolutely. Yep.
And it happens.
Yep.
My daughter and her wife bought a house built in the 70s. They're getting married, the bachelorette party. Everybody's come to the party, it's a spa day in the house, and there's shit floating in the front yard.
Yeah, maybe.
Literally.
Yes.
And because there's a belly and the back.
Yes.
Literally turds in the front yard. No.
Yep.
Does
Absolutely.
not fail.
Yeah.
It does not fail.
Yep. And guys, another agent had the same thing happen. Sold her daughter a house. Sold her daughter a house and the exact same thing. It kept backing up. We had a guy come out, do a camera, and just like you said, there's a belly. They had a saw cut the floor in the house, take all the flooring out, and do the whole freaking thing. So, like I said, I mean, this was a fairly, it was only probably 10 or 15 or maybe 20-year-old place, but that's a great point, you guys. So, if it's a house that old, make sure. A lot of that was all cast iron, so, just make sure you're doing that.
Well, and that's what, buyers' due diligence is for. Like, that's their opportunity to get any inspection, not just a home inspection. So many people think, oh, I just need a home inspection, and they'll find it all. No. If they are worried about anything, like Jeff said, it's an older home, gosh, should we have that checked? Yeah.
Above ground plumbers and below ground plumbers are totally different companies most of the time.
Yeah, and the camera process, it's not outrageously expensive. I think it's probably $400 or $500 a thing, I don't
You're
know.
buying a $500,000 house.
Right.
Invest a few $100s for it.
Exactly right, exactly right.
Is that? I'm like, is that my phone?
No, it's right here.
$10 in the hat, Richard.
So anyway, review the pest inspection report and certification, once received by seller, if applicable. So, I don't know about y'all, but when even if it's not a VA buyer, I always say, do you want to get a termite inspection, even though they're not prevalent here, it buys peace of mind, it's relatively inexpensive, it's about $100, right? And my inspector does them, so I don't know if anybody, even if they don't, like I said, they're not that expensive. To me, it's worth it, and I have yet to have one come back saying, oh, you got a termite damage. There are certain parts of town, I think like McNeil,
Oh, absolutely.
Great Joe Nonkey and stuff, the older homes, you might run into that, but if they said, do I need one, and you said, no, termites aren't a problem here, and they move in, well, Heidi, you told me I shouldn't have one, I'm gonna now sue.
That's right, that's
So
right.
at least offer it to them, so that's why we put it applicable, of course, I'm VA there,
The next line is very important as well, you guys.
oh yeah, obtain a homeowner's insurance policy and coordinate between your insurance agent and escrow officer to make sure your policy is in effect at the close of escrow. Now, I never do this. I just assume the lender is gonna do it, but Jeff brought up a good point. We all get the clue report, right? Isn't that the clue report? Will tell you the history of the claims made on a property, but I believe the seller, it's at no expense to them, I believe, but they have to order it because it's their property. And that will tell you, so if you had a flood, I was telling him, a couple of my neighbors had big floods in their house, like to the tune of 30 and 50 grand. And what I didn't know, because we're always learning in this business, is that stays with the property. So if your buyer wants to go buy my neighbor's house, they'll insure it, but instead of $1,200, it's now $3,800 because there was a big claim put on it. And they look at it, and Jeff was like, gosh, why isn't it the person? I don't know if this is right or not, but logic would tell me, because the property's old, it's not the person, the property has the issue. So if it had one issue, it might have something else break down. So you can get that ordered, and so we're not saying that the deal wouldn't close or blow up the deal, but sometimes homeowners insurance policies
We had 2 issues in this office in the last month of the exact same thing. The insurance policy was 3 times the normal cost because they had 2, each house had a deal file. So, make sure you do order the clue report. It used to be on the SRPD, or, the RPA, but I don't know if it's on there. I don't think I've seen it.
I just think none of us ever do it.
Yeah, it's something I think that we should certainly think
We
about.
ever do it.
Okay.
Because it's not a super common thing. Okay, choose a home warranty company. Once chosen, I will order the policy for you and submit invoice to escrow. Of course, you guys all know that we have many choices for that. Contact all utility companies about 1 week before closing so you can transfer them into your name of close of escrow. We will give you a list of local utilities. I have a sheet that I use, probably overkill, but that has all the utilities on there and I give it to them. Half the time they're like, oh yeah, we already know. So, but it's just, once again, another piece of information that you're giving them, showing your value.
Well, and I think as well, make sure that your buyers understand that get the home, power, water, all that turned in their name before it's shut off. Because then you go through all the hassle trying to get it turned back on. And I didn't realize this, you could put, anybody could put their name on your, for power or water.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to show them.
This has happened to you?
Yeah.
Your client turned
Yeah.
out before?
Yeah, this has happened, yeah, that's why we're closing today. I told them on Sunday, don't turn the power off tomorrow, make sure. Okay, I got it, they shut the power off yesterday. They went to do the inspection, now they can't test it. So now they turn the power back on, and they're gonna expect to do their walkthrough today.
She should have done a walkthrough sooner.
Absolutely, that's exactly what I said. Because the contract said
Yeah,
3 days, and she did it the day of,
Yeah.
which is crazy. But what I should have done is, I should have called her on it and emailed her. You're supposed to fucking get that fucking down and check that down, you dummy. Shit she does.
Honey, on that one, what do you suggest to your buyers, the date when you order the utility? The last day, the closing date, or after?
When you do the walkthrough?
To turn on utilities, utilities.
Oh, to turn on the utilities?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me just back up a little bit. For my sellers, I always tell them turn it off like 1 or 2 days after because it might take the
Correct.
buyer time to get it turned on.
Yeah.
They might forget or whatever. It's easier to have a transfer of service. So for the buyers, I always tell them turn it on a week before. So I tell the sellers to turn it off a little late, and I tell the buyers to have it turned on a little early, just so there's a big pad there. Does that make sense?
If you're dealing with an analytical, they're gonna say, Bev, it's gonna cost me $13 to leave it on another day. Okay, I get it, thank
I'll
you.
give you $15.
Yeah, yeah. Close of escrow, when all conditions of the purchase agreement have been met, you will sign your loan documents and closing papers. Do not move into the house yet. We had an agent call me Thursday. Her buyer, they went to go do the walkthrough. The buyer seen a key inside the drawer at the kitchen. He took the key. He went by and walked in the house 2 days before it's to close.
Yeah, no.
And the seller has a camera. What are you doing in the house? Everybody's upset. People are pissed off now. And I said, the agent was, am I going to get sued? No, what can we do? What can be done? Tell your buyer to apologize.
Did he actually move stuff in, or he just?
No, he just went in. I'm all excited. It's not your house.
Yeah.
You just broke into a house, dummy. Jesus. I mean, guys, this is the shit that goes on that you don't ever think about, right? I mean, do we have that conversation now? By the way, it's not your house. Don't go into it until it's sold.
Right.
I never think about that shit, right? Don't start moving stuff in. So, crazy stuff. Your deposit, you will deposit the balance of your down payment at close of escrow, and your lender will deposit the balance of the purchase price. The deed will then be recorded at Clark County office, and you'll get your keys to take ownership of your property. I think during COVID, when houses were selling, it was taking about 2 weeks to get the name changed into your name and the assessors. Yeah, so I'm sure today it's stuck. But back then, that's what it's taking. So this is just here, guys, just an expense, just to give an idea of what some of the expenses and costs could be. Just to make sure you review this with them, because you want to know that they know what's going on, right? Closing costs could be plus or minus 2.5%. Generally, it's about 2%. I'm sure you guys are seeing too. I'm seeing buyers agents asking for $30,000 on a $250,000 home. That might be a little bit excessive, right? So make sure that they know that. Listen, we can ask for closing costs. It's going to be about 2%, right? If you need it. Down payment typically 3.5 FHA, kind of give them an idea, right? And guys, this something right here is something you should be discussing with them so they know that they have the down payment. You have $17,500, correct? Do you know that do you have 2%? Do you have $12,000 for closing costs in case we can't get them? We need to know that before we start out driving them all over hill and dale, only to find out they don't have money. Are they gonna get money from their parents, from a trust or a 401k? Make sure you find that kind of information out.
Well, and like Jeff said, I think it's a good idea to just touch on these. Obviously, you're gonna get a lot more information from the lender, but we're kind of like the general contractor, and we kind of have to manage ourselves, like the lender, the title company, the negotiation, all that. So while you don't have to give them a whole education on how lending works,
No.
did you have a question?
Yeah, I was thinking, anyone this way?
Yes.
Would it be a good idea to put like the BBRA mission on here, showing that?
Hey, that's a good idea.
I mean, listen, it's yours. You can do whatever you want. I think that would be fine. Let them know that you will be signing the BBRA.
I actually do think that would be good, because it's a potential cost. You know, you can
Right.
say potential, because, you know, ideally, we're getting it from the seller.
Yeah. And as I said, you guys, this is in a Canva link or whatever you called it.
Canva.
You can go in and change these however you guys
If you
want
know
to do it.
Canva, I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, the girls will do it for you at the front desk for $75 if you give them the information and the changes you want. Although I know you're pretty awesome too.
And make sure you guys understand the out-of-pocket expenses, the appraisal, the home inspection. Make sure they understand that's not refundable. If this deal blows up, you're not getting back the $1,200. Okay, make sure they understand that part of it. And make sure they understand when they order when the appraisal is ordered, lender's gonna reach out and say, I need your credit card to bill this. Or when the inspector is gonna order it, they wanna be paid right then. So make sure they understand that part of it, okay?
So, can I ask Suzanne a question? Would you put that under code, like, under the number 3, the, like, maybe number 4, like, make this, yeah.
Like open the
I do think
Yeah.
that's important, because that's the whole thing. We're showing our value, now here, sign the BBRA. Well, BBRA should be on here.
I think I would probably put it on there and maybe touch on it and say, listen, we'll review that after we're done with this, you know, and so they get a better idea. But it is actually, you know, basically considered commission, right? It is commission, so you certainly put that on there. All right, cool. And this next one is how our team helps, and I think this is really valuable right here, you guys. There's a lot of really good things on here. And again, you guys, you customize it however you want to do it. If this is yours. This is just what we did. Heidi reviewed it, the girls reviewed it, we've all looked at it. So this is just the stuff that we came up with. How we protect you. Home inspection and request repairs. We strongly recommend you obtain a home inspection during your due diligence period. If they don't do that. It's not a whole lot today, I don't see a whole lot today. Even if people are buying a home for cash, they usually generally get an inspection. But if they don't want to get an inspection, make sure you get the waiver of inspection signed. And then I would also send them an email. Bob, the house on Banana Street, you said you didn't want to get an inspection. I strongly recommend you get one. Just please confirm. And now you got 2 coverage your backsides of it. So we recommend inspectors who continue to work with us and have our trust. Realty One Group will provide you with their contact information, or you can choose your own. Once we receive the home inspection from the inspector, we will carefully review it with you and negotiate with the seller for repairs accordingly. That's another time to bring up the conversation about what, where, and what we're looking for.
Right. Okay, termite report, let's maybe kind of talk about that. If it shows the damage, we'll negotiate with the seller to repair the damage.
It's just VA is the one who requires the seller to pay for it.
Say what? Oh, yeah.
VA is the one who requires a
Yeah,
termite inspection.
VA requires it, but you can, once again, I just suggest everybody get it, and if it's on them, if they want to or not.
Right. Well, I look today, we have a whole lot of termites in Vegas, but I'm sure there are some. Gary.
You know, back to the home inspection, don't we have a form that says that you want a home inspection, you don't sign this form?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
Get a sign there, because it's like, you said it's not a big deal, yeah, no, I didn't say.
Yeah. Right, exactly. You gotta make sure that this is theirs.
It says I
Pardon?
do or do not want an inspection. On the buyer's, that 5-page disclosure.
Yeah.
There's a section in there that says I do or do not want that, and I think the home warranty, right?
Yeah.
But I think there is, just to be double sure, they don't come back on you, there is a form that says
Yeah, no, there is a waiver form that
Yeah.
must be signed if they're not gonna do it.
And I would want that signed in addition.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, don't ever, if they say I don't want an inspection, don't say, okay, that's cool, we're good, don't worry about it, but don't get one. Here's a form that says you waived it,
Has
and then the
anybody
form scares
had
them.
A buyer that said no to a, and, no, not an inspection. That's what I mean. I had it once, and I like begged the guy to get a home inspection. And sure enough, after closing, he called me, he's like, well, something's up with the master bath shower.
Yeah, no
And
shit.
I'm like, okay, well,
Yeah,
I mean, he was cool
Right.
about it. What'd you say, Gary?
So,
So.
And?
that's on you.
The buyer that I have right now, she, when I explained her the importance of the home inspection, she said, but this is a fully renovated house, why would I need it? You can see that everything looks perfect, I was like, yeah, but remember, this is a 1977 house,
Right.
so you really need to know
Absolutely.
what is behind everything. Fully renovated, so she was
Yeah.
like, why would I wanna spend $300 on
Right.
something that you
Right.
can see?
As soon as they say fully renovated, you'd be a little bit concerned.
Yeah.
They didn't
Okay.
renovate the roof, they didn't renovate behind the walls.
Right,
They didn't
that's what
renovate
I'm saying.
the-
You need to know
the
what is
flat.
behind
Yeah.
it's beautiful, everything.
Right.
Back in the day, and Gary, it's something that had been in real estate a long time. Back in the day when investors were buying cash homes, they rarely got a home inspection. They were gonna go through it and tear it out anyways, a new kitchen and all that stuff, so they're not too concerned about it, which is all fine. Just sign the waiver,
Do you-
right?
Do you remember when we used to do real estate where home inspections weren't even part of the industry? Like,
Yeah.
yes,
You know,
girl.
yeah, you know.
Wow.
I got licensed.
I don't remember that.
How are you? Yes, home inspections back.
Yeah, you had to tell them, that's the one.
I think that's when the wagon wheel was just coming around, wasn't it?
Yeah, the 1800s, sorry.
I never was that in that one. I've only been a realtor for a few years.
I'm just gonna read the next one. Meeting all deadlines, we will work together with you and all parties diligently to ensure all deadlines and contingencies are met and removed promptly. Together, we will work at our best. This kind of goes back to,
Yeah.
you know,
Some
being
type
on
of form.
target, making sure, you know, we have to manage, you know, the deal too. We have to make sure, you know, like you said, on the, let's say the appraisal hasn't come back, you know, you don't want to, the night before, be like, oh, what should I do? You gotta kind of go, okay, it's 2 or 3 days before that appraisal contingency should be in, or the appraisal should be in, and my contingency's gonna expire, so you need to be on the phone with the lender. And you should be calling the lender before you write the offer, unless you have already a really good working relationship with them, so you can find out from them, hey, if I'm putting 17 days for the appraisal and 21 days for the final loan approval, is that gonna work for you? Especially if they choose a lender that you're not used to working with. You always need to find that out.
Right. And what's their success rate in closing the transaction? Consultation of the title property. I know that Rock Title, and I know other companies as well, have a sheet on how to take title. Don't tell them how to take title. Hey, here's 12 different ways to take title. Talk to your accountant, your CPA, or attorney, whatever. But make sure they understand the different ways, especially couples. If one dies, what happens? One's not on title, one is. Are they both on title? What happens if one person dies? Does it go to probate? Does it automatically go to the spouse, right? So make sure they're paying attention to that. And title can help guide them in that. We stay in our lane. I don't know how you should take title. Talk to your attorney, talk to Rock Title. Here's a sheet on 12 different ways to do it. Just pick one that you think is best for you guys.
And they will always ask you. I've had many buyers say, well, what should I choose? Which one should I do? I'm like, I don't know. Like Jeff said, talk to whoever else that can confirm that for you.
Do that one right there, that's it.
Explain what the differences are, but they're not gonna advise them either on how to take title.
Right there, take title and put my name on the other side of that. And we'll be good.
Okay.
Home warranty.
Home warranty. Realty One Group offers 3 home warranty partners who are able to protect your budget against expensive home systems and appliance failures for the following year. So, once again, they can pick whoever they want, they can Google it. We can offer them 3.
I think as an agent, a buyer's agent, you should always ask the seller to pay for one. I think that's going to be your
It's,
responsibility.
a Choza.
Choza, HSA, and Old Republic.
Yeah, Old Republic.
Depends how hard you beat them up, I think.
Pardon?
I think it depends how hard you beat them up, you know?
Right.
I mean,
I always have, as a listing agent, I always have required my seller to provide one.
right.
that's a no-brainer, you guys. That's a risk reduction you can't even imagine.
You
So.
don't want someone without one.
Absolutely, absolutely, right.
Well, and whatever you do, don't say, oh, don't worry, the home warranty will covers everything. And what I really like is the girls that we have that are reps, they are now saying, just have them call me. And I'm like, thank God, because I don't wanna be the one to explain it to them.
Right.
So just say, here, if you want one, or if you wanna ask for one.
Agents explain it like this.
If you get.
Everything's covered, don't worry.
Yeah, no.
Be the source of the source.
And not the source.
Gary.
Thanks, Gary.
When you, transaction?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, transaction coordinator / compliance, because not everybody uses a TC. So a transaction coordinator or compliance will create and manage your transaction file, ensuring all necessary documents are uploaded and organized. They will coordinate with the agent by sending a clear list of alerts and outstanding documents needed to close to help keep your file compliant and on track for a smooth closing. So we just added compliance service once.
Just make sure they know that, you guys.
Yeah.
I like this. This is the love letter we talked about. Create a letter will include your strong ability and desire to purchase a home. Send a cover letter via email for us to have once we have submitted your offer. I listen. Not Jeff the broker, Jeff a realtor, and a human. I don't see a problem with it. Leave it at that.
Well, and I'm not really clear on what the division has.
Yeah, I don't either. I just know they said not to do it.
Does anybody do love letters?
I think they're great. I used to use them back in the day.
I do them if I feel it's necessary, you know.
I think it's okay to send it as the buyer's agent, I think it's on the seller's agent, if they open it and send it to the client, it's on.
That's not
seller's
okay?
agent.
Is that what you're saying? But it says it somehow, I don't know.
I guess like you just said, it is up to the buyer's agent to be send it or not, but if you want to get a deal, do we want to sell homes or show them? That's, I think, one of the biggest things we need to make sure we're paying attention to. Guys, I've seen more agents that don't want to sell homes, they want to show homes.
I think again, you have to judge it by the situation.
Yeah.
Who is your seller? Are they an analytical?
Right.
An analytical, it's
Yep.
only.
Amiable is definitely one
Or
thing.
for an emotional seller, they could be swayed to accept or whatever, somebody's over another because of a situation.
It's funny, I was just talking to an agent the other day, and I don't remember who it was, but they were gonna sell their house, and they said, oh no, I want somebody that's gonna raise the family in it,
Right.
and love it, and take care of it, and all that, so.
I had a listing earlier this year where I had multiple offers, and he took the one that was 15,000 less because he liked the people.
Yeah.
I said,
That happens,
decision.
please.
I know the other agents probably looked it up after it closed, and were like,
I had a buyer that got accepted because they had a desert tortoise, and he told them that he was planning to get a desert tortoise. And he actually he fostered their tortoise during their transition or whatever until they were ready, till they had his their yard ready. Yeah.
He's fostering, please.
My daughter's offering $50,000 less, he received a cash offer, just because, my daughter lives on one side already, and the other house was available, was not in the market. I know it was empty, so I looked for him, and he accepted our offer just because they were gonna be family.
Wow, see?
Because that's where he grew with his father and family.
Wow, how
So he
cool.
wanted another.
So what happens, you guys, that's what I mean, so know who you're talking to. And they'll be allowed to do that kind of stuff. Yeah, it was funny, I was watching $1 Million Listing, this is years ago, same thing. Lady had a house on the hill, family home, I don't know, it was worth, $8 million or some number. And at the very beginning, she's like, I really want somebody to love it and, care for it, it's gonna be a lot of fun. And then, a month later, sell the market and get it out of here, I don't care anymore. So, it does happen that way, please.
It's a way to find out LBR kids, because I've heard since I started, 5 years older, and then they told me that I was not able, the first year.
Wow.
The second year, but they said it was not allowed.
I'll reach out to LVR and find out if it is, I know it.
We don't wanna get in trouble, that's all with that.
Right.
The first offer all the time I was.
Yeah.
Sure about my client and how low the profile, how low.
Right.
Not the property, they told me, please, even it was the seller agent told me once, and it was another agent told me, no, you
Wow.
So it's everything.
I'll have to check to confirm that. I know I've heard it, but I don't know if it's.
Is it a law? If it's not
I said,
And
I
if they
don't think it's the
put it
worst
in
thing.
writing, I'm gonna just casually mention it in my conversations with the listing agent.
Well, listen, if listing agents say for you to make an appointment with the seller, which if you're a listing agent, do not do. Don't say make an appointment with the seller and then talk to the seller. You're missing the boat right there.
Yeah.
So you need to make sure you're not doing that because then the agent, buyer's agent and the agent get involved and they're talking to your seller. And that's when they can do that kind of stuff. So just be careful doing that. That's, I seen I won't mention the agent's name, but Royal, you know what. And on the listing agreement said, reach out to the seller for an appointment. So she reached out to the seller, they made an appointment, the buyer and the buyer's agent and the seller spoke. They had the entire deal done. The agent called the other listing agent and said, hey, by the way, we talked to the seller, everything's great, we're gonna put an offer in, here's the terms. The other agent, Royal, totally blew the whole deal up, they didn't end up buying the house. All she had to do was say, sign the deal and she's gonna get paid. But her ego blew the whole deal up. And I said to her, you're the one who said, make an appointment with the seller. And you wonder why they talk. That's weird. Time to, oh yeah, we got a few more minutes, let's go. She's got the hook out already. I'm supposed to pull the hook, not you.
I just have a piece, I have an 11 o'clock. Okay, strategy.
Oh, that's right. You can, that's all right, you can leave in a minute, don't worry.
Being, after this, it's just other stuff.
Yeah.
Super huge.
This is the most important stuff.
Being the first in the door in our current market, inventory is growing, which means you have more choices. We look at our inventory daily to guarantee we don't miss a home that matches your fit. We will act fast to schedule a showing so you can be one of the first ones out the door. Just once again, letting them know that you are on top of it, you're working for them.
And there, I think there's a part in it too also, to read, I said this other one that you guys have, the other one, about getting back together with them. If you don't sell the home in a couple of weeks, get back together with them and say, what the heck's going on? What are we missing? Once we find the one home, we will not only put our negotiation skills to work, but also social media skills to work. In the real estate world, reputation is vital. We will contact the seller's agent or anyone who might know the agent to recommend us and your offer. We've done that a lot. Everybody in this room has worked with an agent that you guys did this, everything was perfect, and they see your number, they want to do that deal again. And I think that's a good way to do it. Couple last things. This is just on the lag, this is just the live of an escrow. And I think it's important to make sure they understand this. Again, guys, this can be something you can leave behind as well so they can understand that. Steps to the loan process. Now, we got these from John. So if your lender has something different or something you want to use, you guys are more than welcome. Again, this is for you guys to change it however you want. This is yours to review. And then finally, we got your dream home. And then I like this, just some basic features of what they might be looking for. I think this is a real cool process right here, you guys. So, question for you. That's the presentation. Will this help anybody do their business better?
Yes.
I think if we sit down and review it, you guys, I think it'll definitely make your life better. Heidi has to leave, you guys. Bear with me 1 minute. I just want to go over this real quick.
I can wait.
Can you wait? Okay, all right. So I just want to review this real quick, you guys. And this one right here. I've had this forever, by the way. And this is a plan of action. This is just your plan of action. You guys don't have one? They're out here. Hey, we're out. This is your plan of action. I've had this forever. We have a listing plan of action. I put it in the MLS. I door knock. I open houses, right? This is just a buyer one. Change it, add it, delete it, put whatever you want on it, guys. It's up to you. Conduct an in-depth interview to determine your wants and needs. Assist you in arranging all financial appraisals and inspections. 3, enter your database into multiple listing service, into the database, multiple service, your search criteria. Please, right next to it, review your stats every week. Buyers are liars. I want a 2-story with a pool in a gated community. I buy a single story without a pool, not in a gated community. All the time. Review this with them. Don't set them up on a search, you guys, and then not talk to them for 3 months. Make sure you're reviewing it. Establish VIP membership, not sure what that is. Back in the day, we must have had that.
Yeah.
Develop a showing plan that's right for you. Mr. Seller, you are not my only client. Please do not call me at 1 o'clock in the afternoon today and expect me to run out and show you a house. It doesn't work that way. All right, if they call you, everybody has got a buyer, they call them at 11, say, you need me there in 15 minutes, in Boulder City, I seen a house on Zillow, and then you tear off all the way to hell there. Don't do that. Make sure you understand your schedule and how you work and what goes on. And the guys, the best way to say it is, you are not my only client, right? Research for sports sale by owners, FSBOs, withdrawals, and expired listings. Actually, I just seen it from Rock Title this morning. The list, if everybody's not getting the expireds, the notice of defaults, all that stuff, reach out to Heather, they'll send that to you. I get it every day on different things, so that's a good one deal. Prospect Daily, our database of clients, neighborhoods that you want to live in, find the right choice, right home. Contact top listing agents, discuss potential pocket listings, which, remember that big debate over pocket listings, it tells you how old that is. Provide with a call one with high quality homes that come on the market. Provide you with property analysis so you can determine the type of offer you want to make. One of the biggest things we have today is low ball offers. I mean, listen, 600 homes had a price reduction between 400,000 and 800,000 in the last 7 days. 7 days before that, another 600 in that same price point. Okay, so we're putting homes on the market that are overpriced. Right to purchase contract and arrange for it to be presented. Handle negotiation of contracts, supervise the completion of all paperwork. Call each week to advise you of the status and answer any questions you might have. One of the most important things, you guys, make sure they understand how do you want to be communicated with. Right? Has anybody had a buyer ghost them? Nobody?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to ask it one more time. Maybe I said it wrong. How many people have had a buyer ghost them? Okay, so there are a few. Hello? What do you do when they ghost you? When you sit down with them and say, here's my promise to you, Mr. Buyer. If you call me, I promise you I'll return your call within 3 hours. And I want the same thing from you. If I call you, I expect you to call me back in 3 hours. If not, we're going to have an issue. And then make sure you do it. And then you hold them accountable. Guys, if they're not going to be responding to you, Bob the buyer, I'm not calling you, I want to know what the weather's like on your side of town today. I'm calling about some information, so call me back. And if they don't, you need to make a decision on pushing them out the door and move on with somebody else. Yeah. Seriously. College advice, schedule inspectors. I love these. Review closing documents and arrange for closing. How many people review the HUD? It's not the HUD anymore. What do they call it? Sales statement. Does anybody? How many people review that? I tell everyone you should review it at the very least. Make sure your commission's on it. Okay?
And transactions.
Guys, I've had agents. We just had one happen where I don't remember who it was. $2,000. Oops, they left $2,000 out, and the seller said, I'm not going to pay you the $2,000. It already closed in court. It's not my problem. That's title and your problem not doing it.
Should be on the commission construction.
Yeah, absolutely. But here's the thing, on the seller statement, they missed it. It did sign it, and the seller still said, I'm not paying it. Now, at the end of the day, he ultimately did pay it because he was contractually obligated, but why make a hassle out of it? Just review it and make sure. If you're getting closing costs, if you're getting a home inspection, or no warranty, it should be on there. Make sure who's paying what there, right? Review it. And I like this 19. If you have not purchased within 2 weeks, conduct a reconsultation interview to determine the changes that must be made to the search criteria, or I've added it on mine, fire them. How do we get paid? Successful close of escrow. Do we get paid for almost closing the deal? No. Okay. 20. Once you have purchased, I will continue to follow up quarterly by phone call, mail to keep you updated with market trends. Number 20. Very few agents do that right there. I think Suzanne, we're talking with Suzanne in maybe a couple of weeks or so. So she's going to do a class on follow-up, which I think is vitally important because we do very little follow-up. So we'll talk more about that as a commission. All right, you have to go. You want to finish seeing these?
Yeah.
You go. No, this is just expectations. Guys, this is just setting the expectations up front. That's all it is. It's just some other stuff here, guys. It's just some other information. I like this because there's a hot market And then now, there's a slow market with all the inventory. What are you gonna say to your buyers if it's going on the market? So that's all that is in there, you guys. Here's another one, just some qualifying scripts. Again, just so you guys can see that, qualifying scripts in there. I think that's a good one as well, you guys. The most important thing, and again, we got the timeline, do whatever you're gonna do. Honestly, I don't care how you do it, just make sure you're doing something. All right, everybody, that is it. Questions before we leave? Give Heidi a big hand, we appreciate her coming, taking time out. Guys, again, if you want this information, the girls will put your information in, you provide them, they'll do it for I think $75. My girls will. They'll also send you a link on Canva that you can go in and do it yourself if you want to. So just let us know what you want to do. One thing I will talk, July 1st, I think it is.
Yeah. it's the-
July 1st is our Thanksgiving, Jesus.
4th of July.
4th of July. Oh, stop. Stop.
In-N-Out Burgers, we have to Brisbane.
Yes. Please RSVP, you guys. Anyways, it's right over there. July 1st, 12 o'clock, we're going to have a snow cone machine. We're going to have some desserts. We're going to have burgers from that place over there. You just call it out. In-N-Out, thank you. In-N-Out Burger. Please RSVP with Katie. I call them that all the time. Just we want to make sure we have enough count on burgers and stuff, so on that note. All right, everybody, thank you guys so much. Appreciate you. Thank you all. If you learned something, take this information and use it.
So we are in buyers.
Thanks, Pastor. Appreciate you coming. And I'm going to try to have a fan up here next time. Make sure everybody has a copy right here. There's more over there. If not, we can make some. Thanks, appreciate it. I mean, all this, so I can see that I'm going to try something. We're going to follow up with this. Pardon? Say that again. We don't have a list of them. Yeah. No, I don't have it for that. Just buyers. Yeah, when I go on my list, I just talk to them about what's going on. Rose, thanks for taking time out of your day and coming. Make sure your team does something.
The only thing that, okay, so one of my classes was, talk about NAR, also provides the list of buyers agents provide.
Yeah, 102 or something
And
like
they
that.
say, be very careful, don't just hand that to your buyers, be careful, be selective, because they're getting, the other side of that is if a buyer gets a lawyer to review it, they can come back and say,
Thank you, appreciate it.
didn't do this,
Yes.
you didn't do this.
That's a great point. I wish you
I
said
just
something.
thought of it.
Good, well, I've only said, I had a buyer, I had a seller's plan actually. And I would tell them the same thing. Don't put something on here that you're not with it. There's going to be door knocking, there'll be my
But
process.
I think the this is awesome, the overview of the team and what, what you want, like, part of the I'm not just this solo, I have this whole,
That's it. And that's why I said that, when you
paying
do
for
this,
it
you
to
can check
have,
this out.
like, high-end, representation.
Absolutely, and that's why I said that's what's good about that. Put it over there, man. That's why Katie and Kenzie and all that. Put my information in there. No, please. We want to make sure you guys get it.
Yeah, I hit on all these points, but I talk and go through all this, but I don't know.
I just like that because it's a platform you can go
Oh,
through.
yeah, it's nice.
So when I first did it, I was like, this is good.
You're telling us, you see their eyes spinning in their head.
I promise you I would